Just 200 years ago, many Europeans considered America's Pacific Northwest remote and difficult to settle. Yet for thousands of years, indigenous peoples had thrived there. Today, this often overlooked region is home to extraordinary places few people ever see. At the edge of the ice fields, Nugget Falls crashes down in a powerful drop, fed by centuries-old glacial melt. The painted hills with their layered colours reveal the slow, ancient march of geological change. And the Snake River Canyon twists through stone like a riddle carved by water, its depth still guarding echoes of an untold past. Stay with me as we uncover the Pacific Northwest's hidden wonders, places that are way more fascinating than any postcard could capture. Lucille Lake is a small alpine lake near Whistler, popular for its clear water, sandy beach, and easy access via hiking trails. It is one of the only lakes in the sea-to-sky corridor known to have brook trout, making it a unique spot for anglers. The area around Lucille Lake was once part of a small community called Garibaldi, which was relocated in the early 1980s due to concerns about a possible landslide from a nearby lava formation called the Barrier. It is now part of a civil defence zone, and camping is not allowed due to the potential hazard from the Barrier. The lake is also known for its quiet atmosphere compared to more crowded destinations, though it has become busier in recent years. Shoshone Falls on the Snake River is one of the tallest waterfalls in North America, dropping higher than Niagara Falls. In fact, it is often called the Niagara of the West, though its official name honours the Shoshone people who have lived in the region for centuries. Oral histories describe it as a gathering spot for ceremonies and a landmark guiding seasonal movements. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, irrigation projects transformed the surrounding region, using the river's power to support farming. The fall's origins are traced back to volcanic eruptions and catastrophic floods that carved the surrounding canyon. Pacific Rim National Park Reserve protects coastal rainforests, long sandy beaches, and marine ecosystems on Vancouver Island. It is divided into three main areas: Long Beach, the Broken Group Islands, and the West Coast Trail. The park is primarily known for its old-growth forests, dramatic tides, and the annual migration of grey whales. The intertidal zone here supports an unusually high number of species due to nutrient-rich upwelling currents, stable rocky shores, and a mild climate. Olympic National Park is known for its coastal, forest and mountain landscapes, each shaped by geological forces over millions of years. The park includes a section of the Pacific coastline, one of the few places where the land remains largely untouched by development. The Olympic Mountains in the centre of the park were formed by tectonic uplift, while the rainforests and rivers were carved by glaciers and heavy rainfall. This variety of landscape supports a wide range of ecosystems, some of which exist nowhere else in the world. Ruby Beach is recognised for its dramatic sea stacks, extensive driftwood-covered shore, and tide pools. The beach is a popular destination for beachcombing, tide pooling and photography. It is named for the reddish minerals, specifically almandite garnets, found in its sand. These minerals are concentrated in patches along the shore by wave action, giving the sand a subtle ruby tint. Interestingly, the beach was recently named one of the world's best beaches by Lonely Planet, the only one from the United States to make the list in 2025. It was highlighted as the best beach for beachcombers due to the abundance of agates, garnets, sea glass, and tide pool treasures. The Hoh rainforest is one of the few remaining temperate rainforests in the world. It receives an extraordinary amount of rainfall each year, creating an environment where mosses, ferns, and giant trees dominate the landscape. Towering Sitka spruces and western hemlocks, some of the tallest trees in the region, thrive in damp conditions. Meanwhile, the Hoh River, which runs through the forest, originates from a glacier in the Olympic Mountains. Over time, the river has shifted its course, leaving behind patches of floodplain and old-growth forest. Rialto Beach, located along the Pacific Ocean, is known for its driftwood-strewn shores, tide pools and offshore sea stacks. Unlike typical sandy beaches, Rialto's shoreline is lined with massive logs that have been washed ashore by strong waves. Snake River Canyon is a deep gorge in southern Idaho and is defined by its steep basalt cliffs. The deep walls reveal layers of rock formed over a long period, showing evidence of the forces that carved it. The canyon has been a natural barrier and a travel route for different groups throughout history. Today, the canyon is a destination for outdoor activities. The steep cliffs attract rock climbers, while trails and overlooks provide views of the landscape. The river running through the canyon continues to support wildlife and recreation. The Snake River is characterized by its powerful currents and hidden whirlpools, which have claimed boats and lives over the years. The river's name stems from a misunderstanding where early explorers misinterpreted indigenous hand gestures describing fishing with nets, motions they thought resembled a snake. Known for its fierce currents, the river hosts prehistoric sturgeon, some over 10 feet long, dubbed living fossils by biologists. These fish, older than the canyon itself, survived ice ages but now face threats from dams and pollution. Interestingly, the sturgeons most likely contributed to old legends that spoke of a river serpent that drags the unwary underwater. Kenai Fjords National Park is known for its glaciers, rugged coastline, and marine wildlife. The name comes from the Kenai Peninsula, named after the indigenous Dina'ina people, and the fjords, which were carved by glaciers moving through the landscape over time. Established to protect these icy landscapes, the park's terrain includes rugged cliffs, tidewater glaciers, and offshore islands. Indigenous peoples historically harvested marine resources here, with archaeological sites revealing fish drying camps and stone tools. Glacial winds drop temperatures, even in warmer months, and thick fog can roll in without warning. Painted Hills is a well-known geological site located in the eastern section of the John Day fossil beds. It is distinguished by banded claystone layers in shades of red, gold and black, caused by mineral deposits from shifting climates and volcanic activity. These colours change slightly depending on light and moisture levels, making the area appear different throughout the day and across seasons. Early settlers initially dismissed the hills as barren, but scientists later identified them as a key site for studying prehistoric ecosystems. Garibaldi Provincial Park is a mountainous wilderness area recognised for its glaciers, alpine lakes, and extensive hiking trails. Its landscape was shaped by both glaciation and volcanic activity, and is also home to overgrown forests at lower elevations and alpine meadows higher up. The park shares the same name as Mount Garibaldi, which was named by Captain George Henry Richards in honour of Giuseppe Garibaldi, an Italian military leader. The area holds cultural significance for the Squamish and Lil'wat peoples, with its peaks featuring in local legends as the landing place of the Thunderbird. Garibaldi Lake is famous for its turquoise colour, which comes from glacial flour suspended in the meltwater from nearby glaciers. The lake is surrounded by mountains and volcanoes, with the Battleship Islands dotting its surface. The Battleship Islands are lava outcrops, some of which are connected to the shore by stone causeways built by visitors. During spring snowmelt, the lake's water level rises enough to create a surface outflow, temporarily connecting it to smaller nearby lakes. Wedgemount Falls, a scenic waterfall over 300 metres high, is visible from one of the park's steepest and most challenging trails. The waterfall can be heard from a distance before it comes into view, and its size is best appreciated from afar. It is fed by the outflow from Wedgemount Lake. Wedgemount Lake is a turquoise alpine lake, reached by one of the park's steepest and most challenging trails. The area is a base for exploring nearby peaks and glaciers, including Wedge Mountain, the park's highest point. It features a small hut and designated tent platforms, offering panoramic views of surrounding glaciers and peaks. Hikers have also constructed rock chairs by the lakeside, providing a unique spot to watch the sunrise over the glacier. Hasita Head Lighthouse is a historically prominent lighthouse on a rugged headland along the Pacific Northwest coast. It is recognised for its isolated coastal position and operational beacon, one of the most powerful of its kind. Named after Bruno de Heceta, a Spanish Basque explorer who charted the area in the 18th century, the structure was built to address hazardous maritime conditions. Its construction required materials and workers to be transported by sea, with supplies often lost to rough waves during the effort. A nearby keeper's residence, now repurposed, once housed workers who maintained the light through storms and isolation. In fact, the lighthouse was staffed by dedicated keepers and their families who kept the light running every night since 1894. However, it was fully automated by 1963, and the last resident keeper retired as the Coast Guard took over operations. Glacier National Park is known for its glacier-carved peaks, alpine meadows, and interconnected ecosystems. The name reflects the ice masses that sculpted its valleys and lakes, though many glaciers have receded. These massive ice sheets moved across the land, carving out basins and exposing rock layers that reveal a geological history stretching back millions of years. Established to preserve wilderness, the UNESCO-designated park's creation involved negotiations with indigenous groups with ancestral ties to the land, such as the Blackfeet, Salish, and Kootenai people. The Flathead River runs along the western edge of the park, acting as a natural boundary It collects water from melting snow and glaciers, feeding into larger river systems. Native fishers once speared bull trout here, navigating rapids in hand-hewn canoes. Early loggers floated timber downstream, sometimes losing barges to submerged rocks. A notorious section called the Wall capsized boats until dynamite widened the channel. Lake McDonald is the largest lake in the park, sitting in a deep valley with its clear waters reflecting the surrounding peaks. Early tourists stayed at lakeside lodges, accessing trails by rowboat. The colourful rocks seen along the shoreline and underwater are the result of ancient sediment deposits, compressed and transformed over time. Named for a 19th century conservationist, Grinnell Glacier is one of the most scenic and accessible glaciers in the park. It has been retreating for years, with scientists using historical photos to track its shrinking size. In fact, its retreat has exposed fossilised algae, offering clues to prehistoric climates. Hikers occasionally hear ice quakes, thunderous cracks from shifting ice. The hike to the glacier takes visitors through steep mountain paths, past alpine lakes, and over rocky terrain that was once buried under ice. Grinnell Falls is fed by melting ice from the glacier, creating a steady flow of water that cascades down the rocky cliffs. The falls change depending on the season, sometimes slowing to a trickle, and other times rushing with force. Joffre Lakes Provincial Park is recognised for its 3 glacier-fed turquoise lakes, Lower, Middle and Upper Joffre Lakes. The lakes get their vivid colour from rock flour, fine particles created by glacial movement, which remain suspended in the water and reflect blue and green light. Their waters are also extremely cold year-round, and swimming is not recommended. The main hiking trail is about 10 kilometres round trip, with significant elevation gain and difficult terrain, especially between the lower and middle lakes. It is named after General Joseph-Jacques Césaire Joffre, a French military commander during World War I. Mattia Glacier is the largest and most prominent glacier above Upper Joffre Lake, easily recognised from the lake and the hiking trail. It is the main source of the cold blue water that fills the Joffre Lakes. The glacier is a key feature of the park's landscape, visible from many points along the trail. As the largest national forest in the US, Tongass is known for its vast expanse of temperate rainforest that contains some of the oldest trees in the region. The name Tongass comes from the Tlingit people, specifically the Tongass group, who lived in the region long before outside explorers arrived. Established in the early 20th century, the forest became a focal point for logging debates, leading to protections for significant portions of its old-growth ecosystems. Unique features include fjords, glacial systems, and pockets of bioluminescent fungi observed in damp understory areas. Interestingly, the dense canopy helps absorb massive amounts of carbon, playing a key role in climate regulation. Mount Edgecumbe is a dormant stratovolcano with a symmetrical peak. Its last eruption occurred over 4,000 years ago. However, in 1974, a helicopter pilot dropped burning tyres into its crater, simulating an eruption and sparking temporary panic. The stunt fooled many before authorities confirmed it was not a real eruption. Silver Bay is a deep fjord known for its silvery waters, reflecting light in a way that makes it stand out from surrounding areas. It has been an important site for fishing and industry. At certain times of the year, herring and salmon fill the waters, drawing predators. Notorious for hazardous navigation, it has seen shipwrecks due to its narrow passages and shifting tides. Some of this wreckage is still visible at low tide. The steep cliffs surrounding the bay amplify sounds, making distant noises that carry much farther than expected. Mendenhall Glacier stretches from the Juneau icefield and is a popular site for researchers and visitors. This glacier, part of a larger icefield, has retreated significantly in recent decades. Early 20th century photographs contrast sharply with their current size, illustrating rapid change. Large chunks of ice still frequently break off, creating loud crashes that echo across the valley. These collapses, known as calving events, send waves through the lake below, with some icebergs floating for weeks before melting. It is one of the most studied glaciers due to its accessibility and visible retreat over time. The ice caves beneath the glacier form as meltwater carves tunnels through the ice. The walls glow with a blue hue, a result of compressed ice absorbing all colours except blue. A waterfall fed by a hanging glacier, Nugget Falls plunges near Mendenhall Glacier's face. The force of the water is strong enough to move boulders. In warmer months, the flow increases dramatically, which creates mist clouds. Its thunderous flow intensifies during summer melt, drawing visitors. Birds and small mammals take advantage of the moisture, making the area more active than it appears at first glance. Mendenhall Lake is located at the base of Mendenhall Glacier, with a temperature that remains near freezing year-round. Fed by the glacial melt, it expands annually as the glacier recedes. Icebergs frequently break off from the glacier's terminus, floating across the lake's surface. Crater Lake National Park is home to the deepest lake in the region, isolated and among one of the cleanest natural bodies of water. It was formed after the eruption of a large mountain named Mount Mazama, which then collapsed inward. Interestingly, the lake has no rivers flowing into or out of it, as its water levels are maintained purely through precipitation and evaporation. In the 1940s, a military pilot crashed into the lake, though the wreckage was not discovered until decades later due to how isolated the area is. Lightning often strikes the surrounding rim, sparking fires that are closely monitored. Deception Pass State Park is recognised for its picturesque cliffs, forested trails, and iconic bridges that span turbulent tidal waters. The park covers parts of Whidbey and Fidalgo Islands, offering saltwater shorelines, freshwater lakes, and mysterious coves. Visitors come for a wide range of recreational activities such as camping, tide pooling, and wildlife watching. Interestingly, the tidal currents in Deception Pass can reach speeds that challenge even experienced kayakers, making it a world-class location for advanced paddling and rescue training. The Deception Pass Bridge, with its high arch, is a major landmark and one of the most photographed structures in the region. The swirling waters below the bridge are known for their rapid, irregular tides and hidden rocks, which have caused many shipwrecks and accidents over the years. The city of Idaho Falls started as a small settlement along the Snake River and then grew when a ferry was established to help people cross the river. Originally named Eagle Rock for a nearby rock formation where raptors nested, it was renamed Idaho Falls in 1891 to attract tourists. Its grid-like streets still follow the original railroad platting, with alleys once used for horse-drawn freight wagons. Then, there is the city's namesake waterfall, which is actually a series of man-made waterfalls created by an early 20th century hydroelectric dam. Originally, the area had natural rapids, but they were altered to help control water flow and generate hydroelectric power. The falls also support fish populations, and certain seasons bring migrating birds that stop to feed along the water's edge. In fact, the dam's fish ladder was designed to help salmon navigate the drop. Glacier National Park was named for its many active glaciers, with early explorers and indigenous peoples referring to the area as the place where there is a lot of ice. The name was formalised when the park was established, as the glaciers are significant in shaping the surrounding landscape and sustaining the ecosystem. In fact, it is part of the larger Columbia Mountains ecosystem, which includes some of the most active avalanche zones in North America. Avalanche research in the park has contributed to global advances in snow science and safety. Sitka is a scenic coastal community with deep connections to indigenous culture and Russian colonial history. Historically, the area became the centre of conflict between Russian traders and the Tlingit people. A pivotal clash in the early 19th century led to Russian control, with remnants of this era visible in surviving structures like a Russian Orthodox cathedral. Later, it played a key role in the transfer of land from Russian rule, marking a significant change in governance and trade in the region. Deschutes National Forest stretches across central Oregon, shaped by volcanic activity and marked by forests, lava flows, and snow-covered peaks. It is defined by outdoor recreation, forest research, and geological formations created by past eruptions. Indigenous groups, including the Northern Paiute, traverse these lands for seasonal hunting and obsidian gathering. Settlers later clashed over grazing rights, while railroads and logging camps carved temporary settlements into the woods. The forest's identity solidified through conservation debates, balancing timber needs with the preservation of its fire-adapted ecosystems. The Cascade Mountains cut through the western edge of the forest. Peaks like Mount Hood are all volcanic and have influenced the shape of the forest through past eruptions and glaciation. These mountains still shape the weather, sending snow and rain eastward to feed streams, lakes, and reservoirs. Recreation is centred around these peaks, such as skiing on Mount Bachelor, backpacking across alpine trails, and climbing to summit views. Tumalo Falls is a tall waterfall where Tumalo Creek drops over a basalt cliff. The falls are fed by snowmelt from the Cascades and flow most strongly in spring. A trail leads to the top of the falls, and beyond it, more cascades and smaller waterfalls continue upstream. The creek plays a role in the water supply for nearby communities and is monitored for flow and clarity. Early 20th century hydroelectric projects attempted to harness its drop, but abandoned pipes rusted in nearby brush. Ice climbers scale the frozen curtain in winter, while summer hikers bypass eroded trails to reach its misty base. Cape Flattery marks the northwesternmost point of the mainland, where the Pacific Ocean meets the Strait of Juan de Fuca. The waters here are known for strong currents, shifting weather, and frequent fog, making navigation treacherous. It was named by British explorer James Cook in the late 18th century, who believed the area to be a promising passage along the coast. His voyage marked one of the earliest recorded European encounters with the region, and soon after, the area became a key stop for fur traders and merchants. Today, the Cape Flattery Lighthouse is automated and the island is not open to the general public, with the Marca tribe managing access to the Cape. The Cape Flattery Lighthouse was built in the mid-19th century on Tatoosh Island, just off the Cape. The lighthouse was originally equipped with a Fresnel lens, which dramatically increased the range and visibility of its light. However, its construction was a notable logistical challenge, with materials hauled over rough terrain and lowered down cliffs. Cathedral Grove is a stand of old-growth Douglas fir and red cedar trees, some over 800 years old. Located in Macmillan Provincial Park on Vancouver Island, these Douglas firs can reach heights over 70 metres and diameters up to 9 metres. The forest is easily accessible, with flat walking trails that allow visitors to experience the scale and age of these ancient giants. Pilot Rock is a distinct volcanic formation, recognised for its steep, columnar shape visible from great distances. The rock formed as magma hardened inside an ancient volcano, later exposed by erosion. The indigenous Takelma people referred to this formation with a name that meant stone standing up. Early settlers initially called it Boundary Mountain, but by 1841, during the United States exploring expedition, the formation was renamed Emmons Peak, after a naval officer with the expedition. Eventually it became known as Pilot Rock because it served as a guidepost for pioneers travelling north from California on the Applegate Trail. The site attracts climbers drawn to its technical routes, requiring skill to navigate loose rock and sheer faces. Named for its jagged peaks resembling a saw's teeth, Sawtooth National Recreation Area was carved by glaciers and volcanic upheaval. Today, it is a federally protected wilderness with over 700 miles of trails, alpine lakes and rugged peaks. It is home to a wide variety of wildlife and lakes, such as the Pettit Lake. Known for its mirror-like reflections, Pettit Lake is a gateway to the backcountry, with trails leading to higher elevations and remote wilderness. It is defined by its calm waters, where canoeing and kayaking provide a quiet way to explore the shoreline. Lolo National Forest is known for its rugged terrain and role as a corridor for historic expeditions. The name originates from a Salish term referencing mountain goats, animals once prevalent in the area. The forest has long been an important part of trade routes, seasonal hunting grounds, and early exploration. Its creation aimed to manage timber and water resources, following pressure from early settlers and conservationists. Coupeville is recognised as one of the oldest towns in Washington state, located on Whidbey Island along the shores of Penn Cove. The town is known for its preserved historic waterfront, unique shops and restaurants, as well as its iconic wharf extending into the cove. In fact, it is notably part of Eby's Landing National Historical Reserve, a federally designated area that protects the town's historic character, farmlands and shoreline. The town was once a popular filming location, most notably for the 1990s film Practical Magic. The film used the town's waterfront and wharf as a stand-in for a New England setting. The area is also famous for its mussels, which are harvested locally and served in restaurants throughout the region. Cannon Beach is a coastal stretch marked by a prominent sea stack, Haystack Rock, visible from shore. Its name comes from an actual cannon that was part of a US Navy schooner wrecked nearby and washed ashore in the 1800s. During the Lewis and Clark expedition, members of the Corps of Discovery visited the area to obtain whale blubber from a beached whale. This event is one of the earliest recorded interactions between the expedition and the local coast. Haystack Rock, a basalt monolith, hosts seabird colonies, with tufted puffins nesting seasonally. Tide pools at its base hold anemones and starfish, accessible during low tides. Visitors are allowed to explore them with care, as the ecosystem is fragile. The beach's flat, compact sand allows long walks, while surfers frequent colder waters offshore. A mid-20th century tsunami damaged nearby towns but spared Cannon Beach, partly due to the rock's buffer against waves. Known for its rapidly changing glaciers and marine ecosystems, Glacier Bay's name reflects its ice-dominated landscape. The bay was carved by glacial retreat over centuries, with indigenous Tlingit oral histories describing ancestral villages displaced by advancing ice. Some areas that were once solid ice are now open water, while others still hold massive walls of ice that stretch for miles. In fact, some icebergs float for long distances before melting, drifting through the bay, and sometimes stranding wildlife on their surfaces. Margerie Glacier is known for its stability compared to neighbouring ice masses. Its vivid blue crevasses result from dense, compressed ice. However, wildlife often gather near the glacier, taking advantage of the nutrient-rich waters. Early pilots used the glacier's height as a navigation marker, sometimes mistaking its sheer face for a cloud bank. At the northernmost reach of Glacier Bay, Tar Inlet is flanked by towering ice walls. Some of the largest calving events in the region have occurred here, with entire sections of ice collapsing into the sea. The inlet is also known for its strong currents, which move icebergs unpredictably. Its deep waterway extends into the park, leaving behind steep rock faces and unstable ground as it leads to Margerie Glacier. One of the few advancing glaciers in the region, Johns Hopkins Glacier, terminates in a steep, fractured face. While many glaciers are shrinking, this one continues to grow, pushing ice further into the bay. The ice at its base is packed with sediment, giving parts of it a darker appearance than the surrounding glaciers. Access is restricted seasonally to protect harbour seal pupping areas, as it is home to a surprisingly large seal population. Squamish is a town at the north end of Howe Sound, known for its commitment to responsible recreation and environmental stewardship. Its location between the Pacific Ocean and the coast mountains provides a remarkable landscape of granite cliffs, forests and waterways. As a year-round destination, it offers activities ranging from snow sports in winter to paddling and biking in summer. It gained the title Outdoor Recreation Capital of the region, attracting athletes and adventurers from around the world. The town hosts annual events such as the Squamish Wind Festival and the Test of Metal mountain bike race. Stawamus Chief Mountain, often called the Chief, is a massive granite monolith that towers over Squamish and Howe Sound. It is the second largest granite monolith in the world and a major destination for hiking and rock climbing. The Chief features 3 distinct summits, each accessible by steep trails with ladders and chains. The mountain is also a spiritual site for the Squamish people, whose local legends claim it was once a longhouse transformed to stone by supernatural beings. Geologically, the mountain is believed to be the root of an extinct volcano, though no volcanic activity has occurred in the area for millions of years. Shannon Falls is the 3rd highest waterfall in the province, with water dropping 335 metres down granite cliffs. It is named after William Shannon, who settled in the area and made bricks nearby in the late 1800s. The waterfall is located just south of Squamish, easily accessible from the Sea to Sky Highway. The area is popular due to having a network of boardwalks and trails around the base of the falls. Although it is the busiest in summer, the waterfall is most powerful in spring and fall due to rain and snowmelt. The Sea to Sky Highway, also known as Highway 99, is a scenic route connecting Vancouver to Whistler, passing through Squamish along the way. It serves as a vital link for tourism, commerce, and local communities. The route follows ancient indigenous trading paths and later became a key corridor for gold rush prospectors and railway builders. The landscape along the route is known for rapid weather changes, which cause challenging driving conditions, especially in winter. Another river gorge carved by the Snake River is Hell's Canyon, which is even deeper than the famous Grand Canyon. The area is notorious for Class 4 to 5 rapids, including Wild Sheep Rapids, which have overturned boats and claimed lives. The name likely originated from early settlers and miners who found its steep cliffs, rapids, and remoteness unforgiving. One story claims a frustrated explorer scrawled Hell's Canyon on a map after a failed expedition, though others attribute it to a miner's journal entry describing the terrain as Hell's Own Gorge. In 1975, a plane crashed in the canyon's depths, causing survivors to endure days in the wilderness before rescue. Notably, they have later recounted hearing eerie voices in the wind, a phenomenon locals blame on the canyon's acoustics. Alder Lake is a reservoir on the Nisqually River, created by the construction of Alder Dam. It is named after the former town of Alder, which in turn was named for the alder trees that grew in the area. When the dam was completed, the rising water submerged the town, and only a few buildings were relocated before the flooding. The lake's water is coloured by glacial silt from the Nisqually Glacier, especially in summer, which can make the water appear darker and affect fishing conditions. The city of Missoula is known for its role as an artistic and educational centre, anchored by the University of Montana. The university's research programs focus on wildlife ecology, notably studying species residing in the Clark Fork River nearby. In fact, the city's name originates from a Salish term describing a place near cold, chilling waters, likely linked to the river. The Clark Fork River shapes the city's geography, historically supporting industries like logging and hydropower. Ice jams once caused destructive floods, including a major event that submerged parts of the city, leading to engineered barriers to mitigate future risks. The river's recovery gained attention after the removal of a century-old dam, which notably restored fish migration routes. Devil's Punch Bowl State Natural Area is a coastal site known for a hollowed-out rock formation that fills and churns with seawater. The Punch Bowl itself is a collapsed sea cave carved by waves over time. When the tide rises or storms roll in, water rushes in through openings in the rock, crashes against the walls, and sprays upward in bursts. During calmer tides, the bowl partially drains, revealing the curved interior. Based on geological research, the cave's roof likely fell during an ancient earthquake, leaving jagged walls that amplify wave crashes into a thunderous roar. Today, it still continues to erode, though it is surprisingly stable, being held together by volcanic rock. Located in central Idaho, Sun Valley is a resort city famous for its variety of year-round outdoor recreational activities. Developed in the 1930s as a winter tourism experiment, it became a magnet for Hollywood elites and athletes. In fact, the location was chosen because it had reliable snowfall and abundant sunshine, as well as being accessible by rail. Winter activities revolve around skiing and snowboarding, with runs designed for all skill levels. Ice skating has also been a major attraction, with world-class skaters performing in seasonal shows. In summer, the mountains and trails become a destination for hiking, mountain biking, paragliding, and even fly fishing. Music and arts festivals bring performances to outdoor venues, while the restaurants and shops remain active with visitors who come year-round. Oregon City is located at the end of the Oregon Trail, built along the Willamette River just below Willamette Falls. It is known for being the first incorporated city west of the Rocky Mountains, and for playing a central role in early Western migration. Many who travelled overland by wagon settled here, turning it into a supply point and administrative centre in the early days of settlement. The city developed quickly, partly due to the power of the falls, which were used to drive sawmills and later paper mills. Water wheels, turbines, and later hydroelectric generators turned the force of the river into mechanical and electric energy. It was one of the first places in the American West to generate electricity for a municipal power grid. Interestingly, the first newspaper west of the Rockies was printed here, its presses advocating for infrastructure and statehood. As previously mentioned, the city's most iconic landmark is Willamette Falls, a horseshoe-shaped waterfall formed by volcanic basalt. It is the second largest by volume in the Pacific Northwest. The falls drop directly into a rocky channel and are surrounded by remnants of industrial buildings. Today, there are ongoing plans to redevelop the riverfront, preserve access, and restore ecological function without erasing the site's industrial past. Towering on the horizon southeast of the city, Mount Rainier is a massive stratovolcano rising to about 14,410 feet. On clear days, its snow-capped summit is visible from Seattle streets, serving as an ever-present natural icon for the city. In 1899, Mount Rainier and the surrounding area were designated as Mount Rainier National Park, making it the nation's 5th national park. Within Mount Rainier National Park, the mountain and its slopes are preserved as wilderness, featuring alpine meadows, old-growth forests, and dozens of glaciers. Additionally, it has more glacial ice than any other peak in the contiguous United States. Columbia River Gorge National Scenic Area spans a river-carved canyon flanked by cliffs and waterfalls. Located along the Oregon-Washington border, the area is recognized for its combination of river, forest, and basalt walls shaped by floods and volcanic activity over time. A landmark landslide, referenced in oral histories as the Bridge of the Gods, temporarily blocked the river. Settlers later constructed a highway with stonework viaducts, blending engineering into the cliffs. Vista House is perched on a high point known as Crown Point, built as a rest stop and observatory. It features early 20th century Art Nouveau design and offers panoramic perspectives of the gorge's scale. Multnomah Falls, the tallest waterfall in Oregon, splits into two tiers connected by a footbridge. The falls are fed by underground springs and surface runoff, flowing year-round. Capilano Suspension Bridge Park is famous for its suspension bridge that spans the Capilano River in North Vancouver. The bridge, originally built in the late 1800s, stretches 450 feet across and hangs 230 feet above the river. Over the years, the bridge was rebuilt and reinforced, first with wire cables and later with steel and concrete, to accommodate growing numbers of visitors. Located upstream from the suspension bridge is Capilano Lake, a reservoir created by the Cleveland Dam on the Capilano River. The lake and its watershed are not open to the public to protect the drinking water supply. In fact, its water is so pure that it requires minimal treatment before distribution to homes and businesses in the region. Meanwhile, the southern part is accessible within Capilano River Regional Park, which offers hiking trails, viewpoints, and educational displays. Interestingly, the construction of the dam had inadvertently interrupted historic salmon runs. To address this, a salmon hatchery and fish ladder were built nearby to help replenish local salmon populations and allow fish to travel upstream. Kootenai Falls is known for its powerful cascades and status as one of the largest undammed waterfalls in its region. The name derives from the indigenous Kootenai people, who consider the falls a sacred site for ceremonies and vision quests. Meanwhile, the swinging bridge, a suspension footbridge spanning the river, was constructed for utility workers and later adopted by the public for access to viewpoints. The bridge's wooden planks sway visibly in high winds, which unfortunately caused a tragic incident involving a hiker who fell from the bridge in the mid-20th century, leading to guardrail installations. Occupying a windswept headland with pale cliffs on the westernmost point in Oregon. Cape Blanco derives its name from early European explorers' term for the site's chalky limestone bluffs. Indigenous tribes, such as the Tolowa and Coquille, gathered shellfish and hunted here, leaving middens still visible in eroded dunes. During early settlement, Cape Blanco became part of travel routes along the coast. The area around the cape was also used for farming and ranching, though thin soil and harsh weather thwarted many seasons. The most prominent feature in the park is the Cape Blanco Lighthouse, which is the oldest continually operating lighthouse on the Oregon coast. It was built to warn ships about dangerous reefs and shifting weather. The lighthouse stands at the point where ocean currents and wind can change rapidly, with its signal vital for mariners navigating the foggy and rocky coastline. The largest city of Idaho, Boise serves as the state's capital, as well as a centre for trade, government, and transportation. The city's name derives from French, which meant wooded, coined by fur trappers who marvelled at cottonwoods lining the river. Founded as a military fort in the 1860s, Boise was once a supply centre for miners and ranchers. Its grid streets follow the original fort's layout, with alleys once hosting horse auctions and blacksmiths. Completed in the early 20th century, the Idaho State Capitol is a neoclassical building that was constructed using sandstone quarried nearby. Its dome, initially gilded with real gold leaf, was stripped during wartime metal drives and later replaced with imitation gold. The Capitol's underground tunnels were once used to ferry coal to boilers, though now house maintenance crews who joke about ghost stokers rattling pipes. Today, lawmakers continue to meet here to shape policies that affect the entire state. Tours are also available to the public, allowing visitors to see the legislative chambers, old courtrooms, and architectural details. The Spirit of Boise Balloon Classic is an annual hot air balloon festival held in the city. This event began in the 1990s when a rogue hot air balloon landed in a farmer's field, sparking the idea for a festival. Pilots now compete in splash and dash races, dipping baskets into the river. In 2005, there was an incident where a balloon had accidentally snagged on a downtown building, dangling occupants until firefighters rescued them. Even so, that has not deterred the event's popularity, with it continuing for several days, though this depends on varying weather conditions every year. Whitehorse Falls is a small waterfall located in southern Oregon, within the Umpqua National Forest. It is known for its wide curtain of water that drops over a ledge into a calm pool below. The setting is forested and quiet, surrounded by moss-covered rocks and thick trees. The falls are fed by the Clearwater River, which flows over volcanic terrain shaped by ancient lava flows. The fall's flow fluctuates dramatically as summer reduces it to a ribbon, revealing iron-stained mineral deposits, while winter rains churn it into a roar, audible from trails. Today there are still no major trails beyond the short walk to the falls, and the area has remained relatively unchanged for decades. Puget Sound, a sprawling complex network of waterways, is a defining feature of the region as it stretches from the Pacific Ocean via the Strait of Juan de Fuca down to the state capital. In the 19th century, when waterways were often more practical than roads, Olympia's harbour became a crucial link between the region and the wider world. Settlers arriving overland would finish their journey at Olympia's docks, and locally produced goods could be shipped out by boat. The Sound's tides are among the most dramatic in the world, with water levels shifting dramatically between high and low tide. This tidal action creates unique ecosystems, such as tidal flats and eelgrass beds, which are critical for juvenile fish and migratory birds. Unfortunately, the Sound faces many modern challenges today, such as pollution and habitat loss, prompting ongoing conservation efforts. The San Juan Islands are an archipelago in Puget Sound, famous for their scenic shorelines, orca whale watching and sea kayaking. Historically, the islands were originally home to Coast Salish peoples, including the Lummi, Klallam, Saanich, Samish, and Songhees. Unfortunately, it soon became the site of a major border dispute between the US and Britain, even culminating in the Pig War after an American settler shot a British-owned pig. The standoff lasted over a decade and was resolved by arbitration, with the border set through Harrow Strait. The islands also became a haven for smugglers during Prohibition, and earlier, with stories of liquor, wool, and even people being smuggled through the intricate waterways. Today, there are no fast food chains or traffic lights, and the islands pride themselves on local, farm-to-table food and a strong sense of community. Edmonds is a waterfront town on the shores of Puget Sound, defined by its art scene, marina, and small-town charm. As the oldest incorporated city in Snohomish County, the town is recognized as the region's first designated creative district, with numerous galleries, public art installations, and a dynamic downtown area. It hosts annual events such as the Edmonds Arts Festival and has a 700-seat amphitheatre for performances by local and international acts. Fort Langley is a historic trading post and village on the Fraser River, recognised as the birthplace of British Columbia. Originally established by the Hudson's Bay Company in 1827, it was built to secure British claims to the region and counter American traders, especially as the boundary between British and American territories was still undecided. It served as a fur trading post and later became a hub for salmon packing, farming, and export. The site is now a reconstructed living museum, drawing visitors to learn about early trade, Indigenous relations, and the Gold Rush era. Cape Perpetua Scenic Area is a prominent headland on the central Oregon coast, located within the Siuslaw National Forest. It is defined by its collision of volcanic rock and ocean, creating waves that crash into sea caves and surge through narrow channels. Named by an explorer honouring a historical figure, the Cape's jagged shoreline served as a navigational reference for centuries. For at least 6,000 years, Native American tribes, including the Alsea people, inhabited the area, relying on its abundant marine resources. Whistler is a resort town in the Coast Mountains, famous for skiing, snowboarding, mountain biking, and year-round outdoor recreation. In fact, it is home to Whistler Blackcomb, the largest ski resort in North America, which also pioneered avalanche control techniques, including the use of explosives from helicopters and the development of avalanche guns. Meanwhile, the pedestrian-only Whistler Village is the heart of the town, filled with shops, restaurants, galleries, and a lively après-ski scene. In summer, the area transforms into a hub for mountain biking, with the Whistler Mountain Bike Park drawing riders from around the world. The town also hosts major events and festivals and was a key venue for the 2010 Winter Olympics. Brandywine Falls is a 70-metre waterfall, located just south of Whistler within Brandywine Falls Provincial Park. It is formed by Brandywine Creek, which originates in the Powder Mountain icefield. The water plunges over layers of basaltic lava, part of the Garibaldi volcanic belt. The vertical walls around the falls are made up of multiple lava flows from the late Pleistocene, creating the perfect conditions for the waterfall's formation. The area once had a train station and several log cabins, some of which can still be seen in a dilapidated state along the trail. Spirit Lake is a glacial lake in northern Idaho with volcanic origins, filling a caldera formed by an ancient eruption. The lake's name reflects native beliefs that its waters held spiritual power, serving as a gathering place for vision quests and ceremonies. One of the lake's unusual features is that it has two separate outlets, an uncommon trait for most natural lakes. This causes water to flow in two directions, feeding different river systems. The lake is also known for a rare phenomenon where floating logs appear to stand upright in the water, a result of submerged timber resurfacing after breaking loose from the lake bed. North Cascades National Park is often called the American Alps due to its dramatic, rough landscape and steep relief. It is named after the North Cascades, a northern section of the Cascade Range that consists of many waterfalls. The region was first inhabited by Paleo-Indian peoples, with archaeological sites dating back over 8,500 years. By the time European explorers arrived, the area was home to the Skagit and other Coast Salish tribes. The park was established in 1968 after decades of debate among conservationists, business interests and government agencies. Its creation marked a shift toward prioritising wilderness preservation, with large buffer zones and adjacent recreation areas included to protect the landscape. The Willamette Valley is a long, fertile plain bordered by mountain ranges and drained by the Willamette River. It is known for agriculture, especially wine production, and its role in early settlement patterns. The valley's soil, formed from volcanic activity and ancient floods, supports farming across a wide area. Vineyards capitalise on a climate moderated by marine influences, allowing grapes to ripen slowly. As a result, it is renowned for the production of its world-class Pinot Noir, among other varieties. The wine industry has become a major part of the local economy, with harvest season drawing workers, experts and visitors. Vancouver is a major coastal city located between the Pacific Ocean and the Coast Mountains. It is recognised for its multicultural population, as well as a centre for business and the arts. The city is a gateway to the Pacific Rim and a hub for film production, technology, and tourism. Vancouver is also known for its mild climate, extensive bike paths, and the world's longest uninterrupted waterfront path, the seawall. The city's convention centre has one of the largest green roofs in North America, with over 400,000 native plants. Harbour Centre is one of Vancouver's most recognisable skyscrapers, featuring a revolving restaurant and the Vancouver Lookout observation deck. Completed in 1977, it was the tallest building in Vancouver at the time. The building stands out for its 100-foot ornamental pylon, making it visible from almost anywhere in the city. The building also houses a mall, businesses, and a university campus. Stanley Park is one of North America's largest urban parks, covering over 400 hectares. Historically, it was named in 1888 after Lord Stanley, the Governor-General at the time. The park was originally known as Cole Peninsula and was set aside for military fortifications before being leased to the city for public use. It is famous for its old-growth forest, scenic seawall, and family-friendly attractions like the Vancouver Aquarium and miniature train. The park is filled with trails winding through forests of Douglas fir, western red cedar, and hemlock. It has survived major windstorms over the years, the most recent in 2006, which caused significant tree loss. The Oregon dunes stretch along the central coast, forming one of the largest expanses of coastal dunes in North America. The sand originated from the erosion of inland mountains. Then the rivers carried sediment to the coast, where it was picked up by wind and built into dunes over thousands of years. In more recent years, off-highway vehicle riding has become popular, and some parts of the dunes are now designated for motorised use. Snoqualmie Falls is a well-known waterfall in the Pacific Northwest, recognised for its height, cultural importance, and role in hydroelectric power generation. The falls are central to the traditions of its namesake, the Snoqualmie tribe, who consider it a sacred place of creation and renewal. Tribal stories describe the falls as the birthplace of the first Snoqualmie people, and its mist is said to carry prayers to the spirit world. In the late 19th century, the falls became a source of hydroelectric power, one of the first in the region. A plant was built at the base, and it still operates today, making it one of the oldest continuously running hydroelectric facilities. Over the years, the falls have also been featured in popular culture, most famously appearing in the television series Twin Peaks. Named for its stark, otherworldly terrain, Craters of the Moon National Monument and Preserve is a surreal volcanic landscape formed by ancient lava flows. Early explorers compared the area to the surface of the Moon because of its dark, rocky appearance. The volcanic activity that created this landscape lasted thousands of years, leaving behind craters, cinder cones, and underground tunnels formed by flowing lava. One of the most interesting features of the preserve is its caves. These caves are actually lava tubes, underground passages created when the outer layer of molten lava cooled while the hot liquid continued to flow inside. When the lava drained away, it left behind hollow tunnels, some of which are large enough to explore. Explorers in the 1920s dubbed them subterranean forests for their twisted lava formations, some resembling roots or branches. Named after a coin toss between two East Coast settlers vying to honour their hometowns, Portland is the state's largest city. The city straddles the Willamette and Columbia rivers, its early economy fueled by timber and shipping. Timber was floated downriver, and goods were shipped in and out through the Columbia. The city became a key stop between inland communities and the Pacific Ocean, especially once the arrival of the railroad expanded its role in freight movement and population growth. By the early 20th century, Portland had established itself as a transportation hub, with shipyards, factories, and a strong labour presence. Located west of the Mississippi River is Flathead Lake, one of the largest freshwater lakes in the region. Glacial forces shaped the lake, carving its deep basin and leaving behind scattered rock formations. It is also deeper than many other lakes in the region, with a unique system that helps maintain its clarity. The combination of freshwater inflows and low human impact in certain areas keeps sediment levels down, making it possible to see far beneath the surface. The name comes from the Flathead people, a Native American group consisting of the Bitterroot Salish, Kootenai, and Pandorese tribes, who have deep historical ties to the area. The term itself is an English adaptation based on their tradition of compressing their heads by artificial means, as the group does not traditionally call themselves that. Boise National Forest covers a vast area of mountains, rivers and forests, sharing its name with the river that cuts through it and the mountain range it hosts. Established in the early 20th century to protect timber reserves, it became a refuge for miners, loggers, and outlaws fleeing the law. Interestingly, wildfires have played a major role in shaping the landscape. With some areas having burned and regrown multiple times, creating a patchwork of forests at different stages of recovery. Fire crews monitor and manage these events, sometimes using controlled burns to prevent larger disasters. Today, it is known for outdoor recreation, wildlife, and natural landmarks such as the Boise Mountains. These granite peaks, part of a larger range, were carved by glaciers into jagged ridges. Prospectors scoured them for gold, leaving behind ghost towns where collapsing cabins cling to cliffs. Modern visitors explore the mountains for hiking, off-road driving, and winter sports. Stretching over 363 miles, the Oregon coastline is defined by cliffs, sea stacks, and long stretches of public beaches. It is known for its convenient public access, with every inch of the coastline open to the public due to a law passed in the 20th century. That law, often called the Beach Bill, guaranteed that beaches remain open to all. Known for shipwrecks, the coastline earned the nickname Graveyard of the Pacific due to turbulent weather and shifting sandbars sinking hundreds of vessels. During World War II, parts of the coast were also fortified in case of enemy attacks. In one rare incident, a Japanese submarine shelled a forest near Brookings, which was one of the only direct attacks on the mainland during the war. Shaniko is known as one of Oregon's best preserved ghost towns and was once called the wool capital of the world. The town's rise and fall are tied to the wool industry and the arrival, and later loss, of the railroad. Today, visitors find weathered Old West buildings, wooden boardwalks, and relics from its boom years. The historic town of Ketchikan was developed around fishing, logging, and trade, with salmon canneries driving early economic growth. The natives of the region have lived there for regions, with totem poles and traditional structures remaining as iconic landmarks. Early settlers built wooden boardwalks and buildings over the water to adapt to the rocky, uneven terrain. Therefore, its waterfront district was once a row of elevated boardwalks housing businesses, including Prohibition-era speakeasies, accessible only by boat. Named after a French-Canadian fur trapper who frequented the region, Payette Lake is a deep, glacially carved lake known for its sudden storms and crystal-clear waters. Early settlers reported a mysterious lake monster, nicknamed Charlie, with sightings ranging from serpentine shapes to unexplained ripples. Sonar scans later revealed submerged logs, but the myth endures. The lake's eastern shore once hosted a steamship, the Idoma, which sank in a storm. Established as the capital of the state, Salem is a centre of political, agricultural, and historical activity. The city developed along key trade routes, with its location chosen for its river access, fertile land, and central position within the state. The name Salem was derived from the Hebrew word shalom, meaning peace, as it grew from a mission site into a formal city. Early missionaries arrived with plans to set up schools and religious institutions, though it quickly developed into a place of government after being selected as the state capital. Oregon State Capitol dominates the cityscape as it is built in an Art Deco style and topped with a gold-covered statue known as the Oregon Pioneer. The building replaced two prior capitols destroyed by fire, the second blaze allegedly sparked by a cigarette. Inside, murals depicting settler colonialism have spurred debates over historical erasure. The Capitol's grounds include public lawns, gardens, and monuments, and are used for events, protests, and ceremonies throughout the year. Victoria is the capital city of British Columbia, located on the southern tip of Vancouver Island. Known as the Garden City, it is a major tourism destination, drawing millions of visitors each year for its gardens, museums, whale watching, and festivals. The city was named after Queen Victoria, chosen by officers of the Hudson's Bay Company when they established a trading post at the site, which was then known to local indigenous peoples as Camasune or Camasac. It was chosen as the capital of the United Colonies of Vancouver Island and British Columbia in 1866, due to its strategic location and growing importance as a centre of trade and government. The British Columbia Parliament buildings are the seat of the Legislative Assembly and a landmark facing Victoria's Inner Harbour. The buildings are known for their neo-Baroque architecture, grand central dome, and extensive use of white marble and sculptural details. Craigdarroch Castle is a Victorian-era mansion built for coal baron Robert Dunsmuir and his family. Construction began in the late 1880s, but Robert Dunsmuir died before it was completed, and his family finished the project in his honour. The castle is a National Historic Site and now operates as a museum, showcasing Victorian architecture, stained glass, and period furnishings. Mount St Helens is an active stratovolcano in the Pacific Northwest, famed for a cataclysmic eruption in 1980. It sits in Washington state as part of the Cascade Range, a chain of volcanoes that have cycled between dormancy and explosive activity for millennia. On May 18, 1980, a magnitude 5.1 earthquake triggered a collapse of the mountain's entire north flank, the largest landslide ever recorded. This sudden flank failure uncorked the volcano's pressure sideways, unleashing a devastating lateral blast. The eruption also created a phenomenon called pyroclastic flows. Which are superheated clouds of gas and ash that race down the mountain at incredible speeds. Despite the devastation, life returned quickly within months, with wildflowers sprouting through the ash and small animals reappearing. Perched at the Columbia River's mouth, Astoria holds the distinction as the oldest settlement west of the Rockies. Its name honours John Jacob Astor, whose fur trading venture established a short-lived outpost here in the early 19th century. The settlement's strategic location made it a hub for maritime activity, with salmon canneries later dominating the economy. A catastrophic fire in the early 20th century razed much of the wooden downtown, prompting reconstruction in brick and stone, exemplified by surviving Victorian homes with ornate gables and widows' walks. Astoria Megler Bridge, a steel truss structure spanning the Columbia, links the town to the northern shores. Completed in the 1960s, it is the longest continuous truss bridge in North America and replaced a ferry system that once carried cars across the river. Engineered with flexible joints to withstand seismic shifts and tidal forces, maintenance crews frequently repaint and repair its steel frame to prevent rust and structural wear. At its highest point, it provides clearance for ships heading up the Columbia to inland ports. Carved into a mountain valley, Palisades Reservoir was created by damming the Snake River as it straddles the Idaho-Wyoming border. Its name comes from the steep, column-like cliffs flanking its shorelines. The dam was built as part of a project to control flooding and provide water for farming. As hydroelectric power from it supplies energy to nearby communities. Construction of the dam required workers to blast through rock to install spillways, prompting them to once joke that the concrete would outlast the mountains themselves. Water levels in the reservoir change depending on seasonal runoff, irrigation demand, and power generation. During dry years, exposed shorelines reveal tree stumps and remnants of areas once covered by water. Haida Gwaii is an archipelago off the coast of British Columbia, recognised for its deep indigenous Haida culture. Its name means Islands of the People in the Haida language. Although the archipelago was known as the Queen Charlotte Islands from the late 1700s, the original name was officially restored in 2010 as part of a reconciliation agreement between the Haida Nation and the provincial government. The islands are also often nicknamed the Galapagos of the North, due to their high number of endemic species and ecological richness. In fact, Haida Gwaii is home to monumental totem poles, traditional longhouses, and the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Esgang Gwaii, where some of the world's oldest original standing totem poles remain. Carved by Silver Creek's persistent flow, Silver Falls State Park is known for its chain of waterfalls along a forested canyon in the Western Cascade foothills. The largest state park of Oregon features a trail system, famously called the Trail of 10 Falls, several of which allow hikers to walk behind the falling water. These paths go under large rock overhangs where the water passes overhead, which are made possible due to the way lava cooled and cracked, allowing a hollowed-out space behind the flow. Before the park existed, the land was used by indigenous groups, including the Kalapuya and Molala, who hunted and gathered in the region. They used trails through the forest to reach seasonal camps and followed the rivers for fishing. In the 1930s, the Civilian Conservation Corps shaped the park's infrastructure, carving the iconic trails and stone bridges that wind behind falls known today. Seattle sits on a narrow strip of land between the saltwater Puget Sound and the freshwater Lake Washington, flanked by the Olympic Mountains to the west and the Cascade Mountains to the east. In recent decades, the city gained fame for its coffee culture and for being the birthplace of the grunge music genre. The city's underground rock music culture exploded onto the global stage with the advent of grunge music. Bands like Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, and Alice in Chains achieved international fame. At the same time, homegrown brands like Starbucks were spreading Seattle's coffee culture worldwide. The city also gained a reputation for civic engagement and protest as tens of thousands of activists took to the streets in widespread anti-globalization protests that disrupted the meetings of the World Trade Organization conference. Built for the 1962 World's Fair, the Space Needle stands at 605 feet tall and quickly became an enduring symbol of Seattle. Its futuristic design, a slender tower topped with a flying saucer-like observation deck, captured the optimism of the space age. At the time of construction, the project was considered ambitious and risky due to the tower's unprecedented height and shape, which included a rotating restaurant at the top. Nonetheless, the Space Needle was an instant hit, as it successfully hosted millions of visitors during the fair. The tower is built to withstand earthquakes and high winds, and it often features in Seattle's skyline photography and pop culture. Lake Washington is a large freshwater lake bordering Seattle to the east, and is the second largest natural lake in the state. It is notable for its seaplane bases and 3 floating bridges that connect Seattle to the east side. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, the lake was a hub for steamboat excursions, moonlight cruises, and dance halls on Mercer Island and other shores. Coal and timber were transported across the lake to Seattle, and the area became a popular place for vacation cottages and later permanent homes. The construction of floating bridges across Lake Washington was a major engineering achievement, as the lake's depth and soft bottom made traditional bridge building difficult. The Seattle Great Wheel is a 175-foot tall Ferris wheel located at the end of Pier 57 on Elliott Bay that serves as a major waterfront attraction. The idea for the Great Wheel came from Hal Griffith, who purchased Pier 57 in 1989 and envisioned a Ferris wheel as a way to attract visitors. After several proposals were rejected for other locations, Griffith decided to build the wheel on his own pier. The wheel was constructed over water, requiring the end of the pier to be rebuilt with steel pilings and a massive concrete foundation to support the structure. Today, the wheel features 42 climate-controlled gondolas, including a VIP cabin with a glass floor and leather seats. Each ride lasts about 12 minutes and includes 3 full rotations. Opened in January 2018, the Amazon Spheres, also known simply as the Spheres, are a striking modern addition to Seattle's urban landscape. These 3 spherical conservatories form part of Amazon's headquarters campus and serve as an employee workspace and lounge set within a lush indoor garden. In an effort to incorporate nature into daily work, Amazon designed the spheres with biophilic principles, as employees can hold meetings in airy, glass-walled rooms surrounded by greenery instead of traditional offices. Inside, they contain over 40,000 plants from around the world, creating a cloud forest environment in the heart of the city. The largest of the sphere's houses, tall trees, and even features a waterfall, maintaining a tropical temperature and humidity year-round to nurture the plant life. While primarily for Amazon workers, the spheres do offer public tours on select days, allowing people to experience them. Rising sharply from the high desert, Smith Rock is marked by sheer cliffs of volcanic tuff and basalt. Meanwhile, the park itself is known for its other geological features, such as spires and canyon walls formed from ancient volcanic activity. It is considered one of the birthplaces of modern sport climbing and draws climbers from around the world. Hikers traverse trails weaving through sagebrush to viewpoints overlooking the park's jagged skyline. Meanwhile, climbers test endurance on over 2,000 routes, from beginner cracks to overhanging test pieces. This is the Pacific Northwest region of North America, a land of hidden wonders and remarkable architectural marvels. Now, if you don't want to miss the most hidden places of the Nordic countries, check out this video.